Somebody call Thin Lizzy, because the boys are back in town. Welcome back to another episode of State of the Shunion. I'm your co-host, Ryan Landry.
I'm your co-host, Tanner Young.
And I'm quick pat myself on the back. I just hit like 3 OBS Qs in a row right there. Big deal for us. A big deal for us.
You feel like a big-time streamer now?
I feel like little brother that's like sitting at big brother's desk and is like, okay. I don't understand. I kind of understand how it all works, but it's held together with like rubber bands and duct tape over here.
That basically me during any math class.
Yeah, basically. It's like I get the general concept of what's happening here, but my God, I'm terrified that at any moment it's all going to fall apart.
Yeah, I never could figure out the answer, but I could figure out close enough to what I thought what the right answer was. Where I was like,
give you an idea of where I'm going. Yeah,
I think I rounded up, carried over a 2 when it should have been subtracted or whatever.
It's close enough for math. Well, welcome back to another episode. My God, has it been a while? I think it's been more than a month. I think since we did one of these. So I guess that's just a testament of life lately. You know, I was trying to think before we record. I mean, it's a little bit of like, you know. From my end, it's wedding planning. You know, we're at that point where like you're under 60 days. And I'm sure you recall like the 60-day window is like now everything's kind of happening like this.
Yes.
And then, you know, everything you've got going on. But then also, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the world of sneakers has just not been super exciting lately.
It's kind of feeling that way. It's I've also just been shoes alone have been, I feel like, kind of meh for this year.
Yeah.
But also drama. I feel like there are other than Kanye, but you know, not a lot of hot. Well, actually, now that I say that, literally 2 stories just popped in my head of some craziness that happened, somewhat involving sneakers. So.
Yeah. Wow. I hope we talk about them in this episode then.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
One of them for sure.
Fair enough. I'll let you have the floor towards the end there. You rant about whatever you want, King. Go off.
There you go. Tinfoil hat and everything.
Speaking of, I mean, we hadn't done the podcast in a while. And I told you right before we hopped on, that I had a weird story for you. Every week, I get an email with a summary of like our play stats for the podcast from the prior week. And normally, I won't be bragging. I'll be humble and modest and honest. The numbers are normally not too impressive, boys. I mean, like, we're having fun, especially when you don't record for a month. The week over week stats not that good. For whatever reason, last week, our fast forward episode where we recap the sneaker releases of September 2021, last week, so like a year after we released that episode, 200 something listens last week. I don't know. I feel like it's a glitch in the matrix. I don't fully understand, but we'll take them. If you're here from that, welcome. It's nice to have you.
How well did it age? Were we right? Were we
wrong? That's true. Yeah.
Hop in our Discord. Let us know.
Good plug. Maybe they're so desperate just for anything. They're like, whatever. September last year's close enough. Just tell me something.
Had to have been good.
Must have been good. Yeah. Must have been good if they sat and recorded an episode for it.
Yeah.
Before we get into sneakers, how was your Labor Day weekend? Did y'all do anything?
Yeah, nothing too exciting. We didn't really do anything today. Today was a very chill day. I did go into work.
Yeah.
But I am off tomorrow.
That's
so
good.
I had to just kind of prep everything for everybody then. Sunday night went to my mom and dad's house. My dad cooked, so he barbecued, and we suffered through the LSU game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you suffered through your dad's cooking. I was like, no, your dad's a good cook. Like, there's no suffering there. Okay.
He did chicken wings, and then he also did like half chicken, and probably like top 3 chicken he did. It was great. He did a great job with it.
When do you think we can get the crossover episode of like the State of the Shunion mukbang where like your dad has cooked for it?
Oh, man. You let me know. He does love to barbecue.
Okay.
We may have to record like on site. So,
bet pull up. I'll pull it up for that one.
And we'll record on site, and we'll have him just every course when he brings. It's gonna be meat. It's just gonna be
that's fine. I want to get the meat slice by the end of it.
Like the Brazilian steakhouses. It's gonna be kind of like that.
Around.
All right, guys. Here's some sausage.
I kind of want that episode to happen more than anything right now.
I'm all right with it. I think it would be fun.
That's good. Good Labor Day weekend, sounds like.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Did y'all keep it easy, or were y'all hustling and bustling?
We somewhere in between, we got out of town and went to the cabins in Mississippi that we went to earlier this year. So
Very nice.
super nice to just get into nature for a few days, kind of get away from everything. I brought every article of clothing that has an ACG logo, brought it with me, because if not, then when? If
I was
not,
about to say,
then
well,
when?
why'd you buy it?
Exactly.
You know?
If those were the conditions, all conditions,
Yeah.
those conditions exactly.
I don't even think ACG stuff is made in a warehouse. I think it's just made in the woods.
It's just made outside, and then they bring it inside for you to buy it.
Exactly. That's how it's, quality check.
Let me ask you a little question though. Growing up or even now, have you ever had family vacations that y'all took anywhere where you always stay in the same place? So like if you go to the beach, you always stay at the same condo or the same cabin in the woods because like you're like, this is our little spot now. Cabin in the woods, maybe not a great reference for horror fans out there.
We used to. So when we did stay at the, what are those in like Florida, like the big high rise,
I know
like
what you're talking about. Yeah.
hotels, but whatever they call it.
Yeah.
There was like one or two of the chains that we would constantly stay at, and then in New Orleans when we would go, my dad used to work for one of the companies he did. They had an apartment on top of the House of Blues.
Gotcha.
And,
Oh yeah.
ooh, so but not recently. Not
Yeah.
recently. Normally we kind of every time we go to Florida, it's usually in a different
spot. Yeah.
It seemed like we were gonna get that going, and then last year when we tried to book the beach house, they were like, "Yeah, you can't. We're tearing it down." So I was like, "Oh,
R.I.P.
Yeah.
your memories. Yeah.
yeah, for real, for real." The first beach house we took Jules to is not there anymore.
Well, son,
so.
that's gone now. It's the
Guess you gotta
circle
make
of
a new
life
one.
starts playing in the background. Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Yeah. But I bring that up to say that the place we go to, they have like 40 cabins or something like that. They randomly assign them. We got put in the exact same cabin that we were in last time
Wow.
we were there.
Okay,
And I kept,
well,
Amanda kept making fun of me because I kept going, what are the odds? And she would go 1 in 40. And I'm like, okay. Well,
Okay.
Okay.
And-
I left the data analyst at home to come be nature boy for
I was
a
about to say,
weekend.
I'm
Please
so
stop.
happy you're marrying her because
Yeah.
that is 100% what you would say. That
Yeah.
is very
So-
much if I'm asking that question, that's
What
what
are the
Ryan
odds?
is. Right,
1 in 40.
Ryan makes that foot probably about 1 in 40.
Probably about 1 in 40. Okay, Jerry. Play the bass line and walk your way out the door right now.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. That's a testament. That is pretty weird though. So I feel like now, next time you go, you have to
Well,
request.
but it's a little bit of a bummer though, because like then what we did was you can't help but compare it to the last time you were there, and I think because it was Labor Day weekend and they were turning all the cabins so quickly, they just I think the cleaning staff was strapped, and so like there were a handful of things wrong with it when we got there, but you make the most of it. But it was a weird like first world problem to have where it's like you're camping, so it's like don't get so focused on the vanity things. It's like, but also no, we're glamping, so it's like I paid for
Yeah,
the vanity
that's-
things.
exactly.
It was a weird middle ground, but overall we
No,
had a really good time.
Yeah, no, I'm paying for the night. I'm closer to the
Right.
outdoors than
Right.
I am at my house, but let's be real.
But I still
I don't
my
need
credit
that.
card has record of this, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All
I
right.
spent many a years.
Let's go ahead. Let's get into some shoe talk here. We didn't say it at the top of the episode, but for anyone listening, you can head on over to our YouTube channel and watch this whole thing. Supposedly, reportedly, we're recording video right now, so
Yeah.
assuming
we'll see.
everything has gone right, as we said at the top of the episode, it should be live there. And if you are watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We're super duper close to 100 right now. Super duper is probably the lamest thing I've said, but we're super duper close to
matter.
100 right now. Yeah, I
That's
ain't
how
too
bad
proud
we
to
want
beg.
it.
I ain't too proud to beg. No PowerPoint presentation to go along with today because we're kind of, just flying by the cuff here. But
There you go.
lined up a handful of topics that I thought would be interesting for us to go over here.
I like that.
Based on stuff that's been going on in the recent weeks. First thing that I kind of wanted to go over, the A Ma Maniere airship, which if you don't remember this one, it's funny to say if you don't remember because it just happened like a couple of weeks ago, but with how quickly everything's moving in sneakers, it is literally like, if you don't remember, this just happened. But Nike's kind of like reintroducing the silhouette this year, and I think they're doing it by way of more so what I would call exclusives. rather
Yeah.
than collaboration. So A Ma Maniere did the Nike Airship. I think it was limited to 2,300 pairs. Just a simple white and blue colorway. I will say, in true A Ma Maniere fashion, beautiful visuals and like campaign launch video to go along with it. Like
They do.
gorgeously
Yeah.
shot, this really like deep, inspiring narrative to it. But I just couldn't help but feel like looking at the product, it's like seems more like a case of like collaborator was given a very limited amount of options, so they more so made
I
a
don't even know if they were
story for
given
the.
options.
I don't even know that, but it seems like more so made a story for the product rather than like made a product to tell a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, how are you supposed to know it's A Ma Maniere? First off, it's blue. Okay?
Right.
They don't do that
Well,
color.
if I could direct you to, I don't know, whatever it is, like picture 5, if you look at the tongue tag on the right shoe, you'll see A
It
Ma
does
Maniere.
say
That is
in
where the
very
branding
very
is. Yeah.
small print. Yes, it does seem very secondary for the collaboration. Which I'm not sure why. I mean, to be fair, as soon as Nike puts a this is only how many we're gonna do, it's gonna sell like hotcakes, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
So yeah, kind of interesting that there is A Ma Maniere. I don't know how, if there is a contract between brands and shoe brands and things like that. Could possibly be one of the parties. Maybe if I put this is Tanner's tinfoil hat. They maybe to just quickly fulfill a contract to be able to move on, or to fill the contract to be like, hey, we're done. Like, so could have been Nike being like, hey, we're just going to throw this shoe at them because
Yeah.
we promised them 6 shoes.
Yeah.
We're trying to be done with this. We feel like we need to move on from the brand. Or is A Ma Maniere being like, hey, I want to try my hand in Adidas or Puma or whomever the next brand is, and they're just like, hey, just give me whatever. I don't really care at this point. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to fulfill my number contract.
Yeah.
And I have no idea if that's just the tinfoil hat.
I mean, I'm sure somewhere in there is probably what likely happened, which, like, from what I understand it, like, keep in mind, A Ma Maniere is pretty much getting to do. I say getting to do as if like it's just being handed to them. It's not, because like they've done incredible work to earn it. But I mean, I don't know any other collaborator other than maybe Union in recent years who's like running the Jordan lineup of silhouettes and doing their
Yeah.
take on it. Because like A Ma Maniere has the Jordan 4 and the Jordan 12 coming out right on the heels of the 3, the 1, and the 2. So, I feel like my best bet of what this is Nike trying to reintroduce and relaunch the Airship, which I think they first brought it back. I think that was All-Star Weekend 2020, right before COVID lockdown. And so it's been kind of quiet for more than 2.5 years now. But I think they know that like A Ma Maniere, hot brand name right now. Everything they touch, like people go
That is
crazy
true.
for. So it's like slap their name on it. It'll sell, But like you said, already limited to 2,300 pairs. You could put any name on it, arguably, and it's like, oh, it's 2,300 pairs, probably going to sell.
Yeah. And I mean, not to take a slight at A Ma Maniere or a jab. I mean, one, the shoe is very, very plain, very simple. Not like A Ma Maniere is giving us unique, very creative shoes, but that is, I do like what they do. It is a very simplistic yet this just seems almost just like a general release shoe. Like there's really nothing that it seems like A Ma Maniere has really been like, hey, we're going to put our color that we've kind of associated with, things like that. I don't know if the merch that A Ma Maniere in all of their photos is along with it. The merch looks very good, very clean. I do like that. So the line
clean,
looks cool.
It's just simple, but I mean, like I like the logo play they did on it with it. But yeah. I feel like A Ma Maniere's normal like MO with the Jordan collaborations is less of like here's a crazy colorway and more of like a here's something that looks high fashion or luxury, like real quality materials.
Very true. Very true. And this just also isn't giving me that. I'm not really
exactly. It's like even if like this is the best and softest leather. It just doesn't look that way from pictures. Like this doesn't scream premium to me. This doesn't scream like it has a story to me. It, I really think this is more of and it took me a while to wrap my head around this of like, it's an A Ma Maniere exclusive, not an A Ma Maniere collaboration.
Very much. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not like the black sheep and like in the minority of like, I don't really think this thing is that great. Most of the internet is like, I don't really get what's going on here, but
interesting. Really. So that's what led me to my tin foil is just, it seems like maybe I'm just trying to just put some shoes just to move through a contract or whatever it may be.
I get that. Speaking of other releases that have kind of been either happening or announced, that's a terrible segue, and I'm not going to let myself off the hook for it. But let's talk about it. And it's weird because I wrote this topic before everything that's unfolded over the last week. But a couple of weeks ago, like not that long after the Yeezy 350 V1 Turtle Doves retroed, rumors started rolling around that the Pirate Black 350 V1 was going to retro in spring of next year.
Yeah, baby.
And as someone that you and I briefly talked about this at one point, not on an episode, of like my experience with the Turtle Doves kind of being like, video game enthusiasts will get this, Half-Life 3, which is like, it was so elusive to me for so long, and I built it up in my head to be such a thing that it was almost impossible that anything I got was going to meet the standards or expectations that I built up in my head. Which is just to say that, like, I like the shoe. I enjoy wearing the shoe. I've been wearing it lately, but you wear that shoe for a day and you fully understand all the changes they made with the 350 V2. It's just a better shoe, in my opinion.
Look, if you could, list me some of the things that you've noticed that they made improvements from the V2.
So the V2 definitely more comfy sole than the 350 V1. I will back all of this context with I only have one pair of 350 V2s and one pair of 350 V1s. So the 350 V2 pair I have is Sesame's. I only say that because it shouldn't matter, but I know all the 350s fit differently from colorway to colorway. So
I have three of them, and all three of them fit differently.
I know. So it's like, but anyways, just to say that, that's where I'm coming from. But the soles are more comfy on the 350 V2s. The uppers fit better on them. I think, if I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I think I went up half a size on both. Half a size up on the 350 V2s fits me well. Half a size up on the 350 V1s is too big. So I guess I don't know if that's an improvement of the 350 V2s, but I just know that maybe if I'd gone true to size on the 350 V1s, I would have a different experience. But as of right now, my experience is that these are kind of big. I have to lace them tight. And then the opening is not as soft. The ankle opening, the collar on them is not as soft. So you kind of feel it rubbing against your leg throughout the day. But I think there's a weird mental gymnastics things going on, which is like, for the longest time, if you saw anyone wearing 350 V1 Turtle Doves, you'd be like, those are probably fake. Like, they're so rare. So now to just have them and see them and you're like, oh, kind of just reminds me of like all the fakes I saw for so long, you know? So.
It is one of those things that I feel like that is, I mean, with many things, but definitely kind of how you said with sneakers, it's hard for it to meet that expectation of the everything that you create of it in your head, just from the time, and it could have been the era when the V1s came out, when the Turtles, originally dropped, compared to now, and kind of where Yeezy brand is, may also play a lot in it. Very interesting. That I would imagine with a re-release that they would have maybe updated.
So they did introduce half sizes. That's something new, which I remember you asked me about that because I told you I went half size up, whereas the original 350 V1s
whole sizes,
only in whole sizes.
But I would imagine if you're making that big of an adjustment, but with half sizing, that you would, I mean, I guess it's a very expensive cost to then just retool
the whole shoe,
everything,
From what I understand,
to kind of modernize that V1.
yeah, from what I understand, there's a little bit more padding on the inside of it. Hard for me to speak from someone who never owned an original pair of 350 V1s of like what all has changed. But I'm basically against of like 2 years of wearing 350 V2s and always being like, this shoe is so comfy, I want to wear this one all the time.
Yeah.
So, another question I had about these: do you think people who weren't around for the original release care about retros? So, like, mainly, kids that are younger than us that weren't really into sneakers when 350 V1s came out. Do you think if you didn't grow up with that nostalgia and yearning, I hate to say
100%.
nostalgia because it's been that short. You think they really care about the retros?
I mean that would be like asking if we care about Chicago 1 retros. Like absolutely.
I guess that's fair, but I mean,
not to say that the Yeezys and the Chicago ones are the same.
But that was the point I was going to make. I feel like the Chicago ones have so much more, or like any of the Jordan ones, whatever colorway you want to call it, just have more history and have been around longer than, I mean, the 350 V1s have the history though of just being really hyped. But I just wonder, have they been gone long enough for people who weren't there originally to miss them or want them?
I think so. I mean, I think in this, maybe not like a miss, but again, for like, okay, same thing with us and how obviously we weren't alive when some of the original shoes were coming out or very, very young. And we, within the past 5-10 years, have gotten into collecting sneakers, really 5 years seriously collecting sneakers. So while we weren't around for the originals or even a retro, because obviously some of the originals have been retro multiple times.
Yeah.
Our excitement is to just have an opportunity to get it.
Yeah.
Since we weren't able to, or the price was so high. And I do think that yes, the Jordans have a little bit more significance, whether it's like the flu games or whatever it is of the importance of when the shoe was. But I think just what really drives the push for retros is less of all that history really doesn't mean anything if the shoe isn't fire. So if the shoe isn't hype, well, the way it looks, no one's really going to care if you retro it. You could retro, a lot of these shoes and people may not be going for them if they don't have a really good solid colorway.
Yeah.
And how they look. So again, like you said, like the Yeezy, like the V1s, they were a hype shoe. They had the sneaker culture in a stranglehold. I mean, they almost changed street fashion for a minute just to dress that up. So I think the same people who were young or whatever are gonna be like, hey, I want to see a retro of this because I wasn't around, I wasn't that into sneakers to get it when it came out. In the same sense that we would be like, yo, retro the Black Cement 3 because that is a really good shoe. I want it and I don't want to pay $500-$600 for it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a really good angle. I hadn't considered that. Makes sense.
I think that would be the big thing. Like I said, I mean, in the sneaker culture, aesthetic and hype is really,
it's king.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely on top.
Last question I had lined up on this topic. Is there anything else you would rather see them retro? So anything from the Yeezy line you would rather see retroed over the 350 V1s or just even a different colorway of the 350 V1s?
Probably the 750s. I think it's probably.
Yeah, was this question a Trojan horse so I could tell you that I want them to bring back the 750s? Absolutely it was. Sure, but you said it, not me.
Because when the 350 V1s came out, I immediately was like, this is dope. Like, I love this look. I think it's super tight, all that. Like, I was into it as soon as it came out. 750s, however, I was like, cool, but like, I don't really know. Like, a boot?
But also $350, it's like...
yeah, I mean, definitely...
Even if you love them, you'd be like, well, yeah, but $350.
This is tough.
Yeah.
But now, when I look at them, I'm like, these are actually I really like. I mean, I don't remember which one. I think my favorite one, it almost looked like the original colorway, but the midsole was like glue in the dark. Glow in
the dark. If you
the
went outside at
bastards.
night, your feet would stick to the ground. They
Yeah.
glue in the dark. Yeah.
Um,
No, they're like, yeah, they're gray. They're gray on the upper, but they have the glow in the dark soles. Yeah.
yeah, but I think the soles are a gum sole. I don't know.
They are.
There was
Yeah,
something.
they
Yeah,
are.
and I love that. It wasn't until I saw that one when I was like, oh, I really like. I think I really went hard for that
don't-
one.
I don't know
And the
why I always thought.
chocolate.
Yeah, I always associate you with the chocolates. I thought you loved the chocolates.
I went well, so I remember I went really, really hard for the chocolates, couldn't get them, and so I ended up. I think like that week I picked up it was like a Nike Air Force like
The Air Force
combat.
One High, the Special Forces. Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Yes. I remember. I was with you when you
kinda-
got those.
I kind of regret letting those go, but I would never wear them. I'm not wearing that shoe anymore.
It's the
but,
same with me. I got Vans skate highs that were like all olive drab colorway, and it was like is just the best you could do at that time, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So I think 750s, and probably I think a lot of people would either pick a different 350 V1 colorway or a 750, and I think it's just because of how much time has passed.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's many people that'd be like, man, this 350 V2 colorway needs to come back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that, or maybe like the Moonrock V1.
Yeah. Moonrock
really-
or Oxford Tan. I mean, those kind of were, if memory serves correct, like the four colorways that were on the 350 V1s.
The Pirate
Turtle
Black.
Dove, Pirate Black, Moonrock, and Oxford Tan, I think, were the four colorways. So
Yeah. So that would be cool. I would imagine if they did the Turtle Doves and then the Pirate Black, I don't know why they wouldn't do.
if you're already at that point of like redoing, well, not redoing, but like, getting the last and all the tooling again, yeah, I guess just print out as many colorways as you can.
Yeah. Which who knows? I mean, with Kanye,
Well,
Kanye's been very vocal that he was not.
At this
Happy.
point, it's like I haven't kept up with it enough because it's really been unfolding over the past 36 hours while I've been out of town. But even if I had, I feel like, I guess, like you gotta laugh, you gotta be able to laugh at yourself. But like, does the internet need two more 30-something white males to give their opinion on Kanye right now? Like, does the internet need that? And it's like, I'm sure if you want to know what's going on with Kanye, there's a lot of opinions out there already,
Hey, he's coming out with a football cleat.
He's coming out with a football cleat. He's calling this guy Daniel Cherry Pop. I don't know. It's just he's redoing his whole contract with Adidas apparently. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm
watching it unfold, but I don't feel like we need to talk about it because I would bet you when this episode comes out on Friday and we're talking about all these other things, I bet there's at least 3 other of the mainstream sneaker podcasts talking about what's going on with the Kanye and Adidas controversy. It's like,
oh yeah,
I'm not trying to go toe to toe with Complex's budget right now.
It would be super interesting if Kanye does leave Adidas and just does his own. He's just Yeezy.
That's what he's talking about.
Does he lose all of those silhouettes? Are those silhouettes technically Adidas?
Let's do it. I guess we're doing it. Let's do it.
That one question. The
only thing I've just read a handful of armchair lawyers on Reddit giving their opinion on it. So take this all with a grain of salt. But from what I've read, people saying that Adidas have the rights to still make the shoes until 2026 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've read from, again, the lawyers on Reddit. Take that for what you will. But
Kanye, go do your own brand. Don't be with any of the big brands because I want to see a no limit, no restraint Kanye of what he's gonna what he's gonna come up with. That would be super fun.
I don't know. We'll see. It would be. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, those were the 2 big topics I had lined up for today, but I don't know how this format of an episode will continue. I don't know if this next segment is going to be a recurring one we do, but it's at least something I'm going to try to shoehorn in for today, pun intended. A little segment I want to call "What Made You Feel Old," and this is probably going hand in hand with how we said at the top of the episode of like feels like sneakers just haven't been that interesting lately, and there's certain stuff that's been coming out that I'm like, is this really what's going on in sneakers right now? I feel so out of touch and so old. The thing that really inspired that this past week is the Jound and Asics Gel Kayano 14, which I feel like this is like the New York fashion bro of like,
Oh yeah.
hell yeah, it's Ame Leon Dore and this, and it's like, it's this and we love this. But if you haven't looked them up and you're driving, I would advise you pull over the car right now. In the words of Funk Master, go in a convenience store and put your hand to the cash register. That is your money now. But pull over and look up the Jound. That's spelled with 4 J's at the beginning of it. The Jound and Asics Gel Kayano 14. I cannot believe that people are talking about this shoe. I can't believe people are buying this shoe.
This is some Y2K shoe right here.
I'm so out of touch because I look at this and I'm like, if I saw this like in Ross or Marshalls, I'd be like, yeah, that's what they sell here. This is
100%.
that.
100%. Dude, I guarantee you, if you're like, yo, this is fire, go into your local card shop where they sell like Magic, and Magic the Gathering, probably Magic as well. I don't know.
Probably actual Magic.
D&D merch. I guarantee you, the guy behind the counter has got something that is either this or looks just like it. Yeah. And he is sitting there be like, he didn't even know that he's got fire back there.
Yeah. This, I don't know. Just when I see these and I see that these are popular, this to me is like the pinnacle of trying to scream like, you ain't up on this, of like, I could wear these out because they look like, you know the meme of the guy standing in the corner at the party and he's like, they don't know I'm wearing the Jound Ace. Yeah. That's this meme. This is like, they don't know I'm wearing the Jound Asics Gel Kayano.
I mean, it is interesting because, I mean, you know, we are getting to that age. So like, you know, when we were young, we fantasized and like really glorified like the 80s. You know,
right.
The 70s, like music from that era, fashion and things like that. Well, I mean, we're just now at the point where
it's wrapping back around.
People 10, 15 years younger than us are looking at the era maybe we grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s as kind of that of being like, oh my God, look at the fashion sense.
Yeah.
And the art and everything from late 90s and the early 2000s. Yeah. And bringing that back. It is very weird because it's like, of all the things, because it's very funny because so many people have been, I'm sure you remember the Oakleys, or have seen it recently, the Oakleys that like fit on top of the head. Those, I mean, are going for thousands of dollars. You have like big hip hop artists who are like, I need that to perform in, and that was a very early 2000s thing. Now we have the wide knit, like that big knit that it has like wrap around. I mean, I feel like my dad owned a pair of these shoes.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, to your point about like, you know, oh man, this is old man yelling at clouds, but it's like what the kids are wearing these days. It is wild to me that so much of the like from fashion to hairstyles, what has come back to be popular, for some reason, culture has chosen all the things that we hated at that time or like have looked back and cringed at, you know, like, it'd be like almost like if the spinning belt buckles or like the belt buckles that had the LED sign scrolling text came back and you'd be like, no, those weren't cool at the time. Like they weren't, I mean, like someone thought they were, but like, oh man, I don't know. It's weird. We're getting down a rabbit hole here, but
how long until the swag era comes back?
I guess I got my swagger back.
Yeah, you remember the snapbacks?
Boy, do I!
Oh man,
wearing oh man,
yeah. I give it like 10 years, and we're back in our swag era.
We'll see. I want audios to come back more than it. If there's anything we're gonna bring, can we bring back audio shoes? And I know like Bam Margera's not in a good place right now, but like, can we get him on board?
Let's get with Ruckus. Let's get with Humidity. Let's have them recreate very popular like 2000s skate magazines, like those big photos. Create today.
Okay,
I'm about it.
That's what we want.
I'm about it.
Now, let me transition you here because I did ask you to add a topic to the thing of what made you feel old. And my favorite thing, just for all the audience listening, Tanner has written Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson makes you feel old. And I don't know why, but I can't wait to find out along with everyone else. What's going on with Allen?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. So it's very funny because when you look at the Google Doc, you could tell Ryan and I have two different brains. So I'm along the put a word and then I could just talk about that word.
Yeah.
Ryan is he'll have like a sentence or two.
I need to write my questions down, but also because like, and not sorry to cut you off here, but because please. I'll work on this episode a week before it comes out and I'll forget all the questions I want to ask.
There you go. Yeah. So Allen Iverson. So I guess there's not many things that I see or whatever where I'm like, oh, I'm old now. Like I've never really had that. I've never like if someone's like seeing it, I'll see something and be like, oh, I remember that from my kid. Not until like I started working with people who are like 10 years younger than me, and they're like, I graduated high school in this year, and I'm like, oh my god, I was like putting retirement money in. I was like, oh shit. But yes, Allen Iverson, his sneakers, especially this year, are getting retro. They are retroing a ton of Allen Iverson shoes. And I just remember watching Allen Iverson a lot in the early 2000s and seeing him kind of explode in the NBA. And that was, I guess, one of those things where I was like, oh, I guess that is kind of does make me feel old, since of like all of his shoes are now being retroed 20 plus years later. I'm like, okay, that is kind of a weird thing in sneakers. I don't know how hot they are. I don't know if people are really buying them
running to buy them. Yeah.
There's a lot of articles about the Allen Iverson, very classic colorways and things like that. And it's interesting because they are retroing specific colorways from specific games where like he had monumentous moments similar to Jordan,
right?
Where they'll retro
shattered backboards, flu games,
exactly. So in that sense of like, oh man, I remember watching this game. I know this shoe whenever he went to Denver, like all of that. So that was one of those things where I guess now where I'm like, oh, that's I guess a weird thing. Like I'm sure like people in the 90s and early 2000s was like, oh, I remember watching that Michael Jordan game.
Right.
I kind of have that thing with the Allen Iverson. So a small moment of like, whoa, I guess that is kind of old.
Take me back.
I remember watching that game in 2003.
Now,
it is now almost 2023.
When you talking about growing up watching them, are you talking about the game or are you talking about practice? Yeah. Someone out there is gonna like that. Someone out there is gonna like that joke. Not sneaker related, but I will tell you the other thing that makes me feel old: the excitement I get to talk to anyone about lawn work. God, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
We could do a separate podcast about lawn work, and I could go for 40 minutes every week.
I haven't even been able to do it for so long. Keeps freaking raining.
That to me is like a do you want to hit? And I'm like,
I've been trying to be sober.
It has been raining. Yeah. Last thing before we go here, talk about a couple things coming up that maybe we're looking forward to. A small version of our rewind fast forward that we used to do. I tried to just pick, each of us pick one thing coming up soon that we're looking forward to, but also because that feels like about the extent of what there is to look forward to lately.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Call it cliche, call it an obvious answer. I'm looking forward to the Air Jordan 1 yellow toes that are supposed to be coming out this year. I mean,
very pretty.
Nothing groundbreaking, nothing revolutionary about these, but just a good looking one. I feel like if you picked up Pollins last year when they came out, maybe you don't also need these. No. But I don't have any color toe Jordan 1s. I don't have bread toes. I don't have any of the court purples or greens that came out 2019. I don't remember. So this one would be the first one kind of in that color blocking. I think I also like them because they remind me of shattered backboards a whole lot, because I'm like,
I am very much getting that.
I could twist my eye into seeing that as orange. This is close enough for me.
Well, that was my first thought. Is like, man, it seems so like a really light orange rather than a yellow. So I'm like, is that the promo pictures that have gotten edited? Maybe. Like they put a filter on it, or is it actually more? Because if it is, then this is like, to me, if it's more orange than yellow, easy pickup right here. Yeah. One, you got Halloween. I mean, bam, that's great. You got a Halloween shoe. And then two, like you said, ooh, this is a good looking shattered backboard.
Yeah, but I think I'm just so excited to see them not intentionally shoot themselves in the foot or fumble the bag with such an easy colorway, where they're like, we're going to do patent leather, or we're going to do cracked leather, or like it's going to, and it's like, no,
Nope.
you don't, please don't, just leave them alone.
Just do the good leather. You know what leather we want.
Right. I do see myself dangerously getting into that territory of like rainbow wall of Jordan 1s where it's like, no, these are Breds and these are Chicago's and these are Bred toes and these are black. They're actually all different.
They're all different.
Dangerously getting into that territory, but
I'm just going to sell all of my stock to just have different, slightly varied colors.
Slightly different Jordan 1s. Yeah. A whole wall of them.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you looking forward to?
I don't know if I'm looking forward to it exactly, but I do love a spooky shoe. I love a Halloween shoe. They're usually somewhat decent. So this year, it hasn't been confirmed, but it's more than likely the Halloween shoe we will get is the neck face and Nike SB spooky graphics, which it is just all black Nike SB low, but it has a ton of patches on it.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to a local hardcore show, the guy with the denim jacket,
you've seen this shoe, but just on a jacket. Yeah.
It's that on a jacket. So it's patchwork, very different, all over the place. It's like so hard to see like what's going on. Also, kind of cool. The large Nike swoosh has been replaced with a very tiny swoosh by the heel, which is kind of, again, interesting, kind of how we've said a lot of Nike being more comfortable with allowing their brand to not be, that swoosh to not be the most prominent thing on a shoe. There are occasions where the patches, it seems like they come, especially towards the back, they come up higher than the shoe. So you get a little bit of something like,
where your
of that. Spots. Yeah, you may have a little patch coming right into the Achilles tendon. I don't know. It's like when I first looked at him, I was like, boy, that is stupid. Then I kind of kept looking at him and I'm like, actually kind of like it. Kind of like, kind of thing. I was like, I could go back to some hardcore shows and kind of rock these, you know what I mean? So it has not been, I still don't believe that there's an official release date. It is projected that they will be coming out Halloween of 22. So Nike has not said anything of what their Halloween shoe will be. Normally SB will do a theme shoe. So it seems like this may be the one.
Okay.
Which just by looking at it, I want to say you could probably pick this up very easily. I don't know many people who are going to be like, I for sure want this, but the sneaker market is so crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a dunk low. So that's, normally better than the mids or highs.
Yep.
And I will say it's not overly Halloween. Like it's spooky. It's tough. It's definitely jean jacket, but it's not for the people who are like, I don't want to wear a Halloween shoe in May.
Definitely not
wear this. So I don't know. Could go either way.
Like I said, if you're a hardcore kid, if you're in the alt scene, but you also like sneakers, this shoe is like super up your alley. Or if you just want to like add like a quote unquote punk look with some ripped jeans, I think this is also a good pickup.
Good luck.
So yeah, I'm about it.
I didn't put it on the list here, but can I just say, and this is another obvious softball, the Lost and Found Chicago Jordan 1s, they're supposed to be coming out before the end of the year. Super excited. Hearing the backstory on those now and like all the packaging and details and stuff.
Super cool.
Super cool.
Super cool. I came across a little IG collage of like all that stuff, and I was like, all right, this is pretty sweet.
So we'll see. I did hear though, unfortunately, the release date got pushed back because they were supposed to be coming out. They were supposed to be coming out on my wedding date, which is in Chicago. So I was like, this is stars aligning. I think it's like November 17th or something last I'd heard. So it's like mid-November now. So still before the end of the year, but not in time for weddings. So just going to have to find something else to wear.
Boy, what a way though. You hit the matrimony and then boom, you go purchase, rock to the reception.
Well, we were joking. That's what the bachelor party was going to be.
Hey, look,
just the six of us camping out outside. Yeah.
Look, hey,
Yeah,
as the bachelor, you get to pick. So
we'll see. But
yeah,
now
that's
that
what it
release got
is.
pushed back, so now we just gotta do something dumb. I don't know. We'll find something to do. We'll have fun.
It's Chicago. They
It's
gotta have
Chicago.
something.
There's got to be something to do in Chicago, I'm sure.
Where's Al? Where's Al? I want to talk to Al.
All right. Well, thank you. Do you have anything else you want to add before we start wrapping this thing up?
I covered it all.
All
Covered
right.
it all.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you. Let's see. Ready? Hang on. Hey, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of State of the Shunion. You can catch us online at shoepodcast.com. Our Instagram is at shoepodcast. What else is on this thing? Let's find out. Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can do so over at patreon.com/shoepodcast. If you're having trouble keeping track of all the links here, just check out our website, shoepodcast.com. Wherever you listen to the show, make sure to leave that rating and review. We want to read them. It helps us know. It helps us grow. Slap the mic on the way out. Once again, if you watched the video this far, thank you so much. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. Tanner, anything you want to tell the people before we get out of here?
I got nothing. I got
Fair
nothing.
enough.
I really haven't purchased anything new to kind of get you in. So
Stay blessed.
yeah, hallelujah.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening to another episode. Boy, is it good to be back. I'm your co-host, Ryan Landry.
I am your co-host, Tanner Young.